And hello and welcome to the Film Vomit Podcast. My name is Mac Taylor,
My name's DJ.
and today we are talking about another really good movie, which always makes us happy. This is a classic. We are talking about Home Alone 2, 1992. Yeah, it's always got to have that tag. All right, memories of this film. I feel like we always start with like our past with the film before we go into the present and the future.
It's the same as the first one. Like I said, the first one, I always watch them together. And I've been watching this since I was a kid, since these came out, pretty much right around the time I was born.
Mhm.
So I mean, I've been watching it for 27 years, almost 28. So I love this movie.
Yeah, it's definitely I'm just trying to get the microphone level right here. This is always a movie I tend to go to as well. This is my as you'll see from our Christmas videos, this is one that's pretty high up there on my list. Um, so yeah, I guess great movie. If you haven't seen the movie, do so.
If you haven't seen the movie, you're un-American.
Exactly. So let's get into it. We open up the film similar to Home Alone 1 with the theme
Everybody's kind of wandering around the house.
without Joe Pesci cop
Without
this
Joe
time,
Pesci cop.
and without the pizza guys. It's just them
Getting ready for a concert or play.
They think it's one of those like school,
It's a school concert.
Christmas. Like sometimes they do
Musical?
like music, and maybe another grade puts on a play. Like
But it's all the grades together. It's like the choir. It's probably a church, not a school.
You think so?
It's
They were in an
church.
auditorium though. Looked like a school event. Most churches aren't in an auditorium,
It's true.
but also
Whatever. It's an event with all the kids singing in a choir with
Yes.
their little red and gold robes.
But before we get to any of that stuff,
Right.
it's been what do they say? It's been a
1
year.
year.
1
It's been
year.
exactly 1 year.
Buzz grew a shit ton in that year.
It's actually, in reality, it's been 2 years.
Been 2 years, but still,
But
they got
still, Buzz
Devin
grew.
Devin Ratray hit puberty
Yeah,
pretty hard.
Lost all his chunkiness.
Yeah, he's
And
just
now
a
he
solid
looks
mass.
like a football player.
Then we see Fuller's just chugging
away
Coke, and Frank's like, "Oh, be careful now. The rubber sheets are packed." Like,
if you know he pees the bed, why do you give him Coke?
what?
You're a dick.
Yeah, why do you let your young kid drink soda? Anyway, I wasn't allowed to have soda until I was like 13.
I mean, I had soda. I don't even remember. I had soda, but
Oh, well, lucky you on that aspect. Then we go into Kevin and his mom. He's always in his mom's room.
yeah, he's always whining.
Yeah, it's true. And
Well, this one he's not really.
he's not whining. He's sitting there playing with his tape recorder.
Yes,
Yeah, like he says something, he plays it back for him.
which was not real at the making of the movie. The Talk Boy was not the real toy yet. Talk Boy was made because of this movie. The Talk Boy in the movie does not actually work.
So yeah, I think he's just going yes, and then she has to wait a beat, and then like the scene's probably a little challenging.
Yeah.
She's like, "Did you get that thing that is it his grandma or his aunt? Somebody gave him."
His aunt, I think.
Which we see later. And she's like, what did she say? Did you have your tie on?
He asked him about his tie.
And then in the background, his dad unplugs this plug from the wall to what was he unplugging?
A charger of some sort, like the camera charger.
Yeah, I think so. To pack it. And of course we unplugged the
alarm clock.
No, but I mean like when you have multiple plugs in one thing.
It's out.
Power strip. When you unplug the power strip, of course everything's going to turn off for a second. So their alarm clock turns off, but he doesn't know this. Setting up for failure. He should probably have seen that one coming.
Definitely. Well, I don't know, because there was times like when I had an alarm clock in high school, I could unplug it and plug it back in real quick, and it's still.
He wasn't quick about it. He like unplugged it, took a thing, and put it back. This should have been expected. Maybe he didn't know that their alarm clock was plugged into that,
Assuming he probably just assumed it wasn't.
but still, it's like,
He's too
especially
busy-
since this has happened before, you should have checked.
too busy worried
That
about
night
Kevin
before they
getting
went to
his
bed, they
tie.
should have checked that the time was accurate.
Yeah, that too. Like they went to bed and it's like, oh, let's make sure the alarms are set. No,
They just went to bed.
Yeah, just go to bed.
And then she's like, why don't you go get your tie? He's like, I can't. Uncle Frank's taking a shower, and he says if I saw him naked that it would change me.
Change me for life.
Yeah, something like that. And she's like, just go in real quick. Don't look at Uncle Frank. And so he goes in and he's reaching around to get his tie. And
Frank's
he's
singing. So he brings out his little talk boy.
And he's recording and singing.
Frank's song.
And then he goes, Get
out
of
of here, you nosy little pervert, before I slap you silly.
Yeah. And then he freaks out, shuts the door, and gets out of there.
His little freak out face.
Yeah, then we go to their choir concert where everybody, it seems like everybody's
the whole
in
family is singing. That's why I'm kind of like it's not a school
because they're all in different grades.
Yeah. Whatever.
And Kevin has a solo, and Buzz decides to play around with the candles behind him and mess with
on
them.
His head and make him look like it. Which really, and that's not that funny. What's so funny about that?
But also, like, just why? Why did you have to do that? And so Kevin gets mad.
He hangs out with Frank too much.
It's probably the thing. Frank's laughing hysterically at this.
Frank is about, like, everybody's kind of chuckling, but then the parents are like,
crap.
Because
either way, that's their kid. And then Kevin turns around and just pushes Buzz and takes the whole choir down. Everybody just falls in succession. Standing. And everybody falls down. They knock a fake Christmas tree over, which then knocks the piano lady and knocks her off the stage. Yeah. Like, well, her thing falls and she flips over the stage, which is hilarious. And then the curtains just drawn shut.
This movie is really great because there's always, like, each scene has, like, great humor in it.
It's like a building.
Yeah.
There's not just a scene for no reason. Something pays off for something.
Yeah.
Then we cut to where they're having like a family meeting. Buzz is kissing total ass here, saying like, I'm so sorry for my immature behavior. And Frank's like, it was funny though. God damn it, Frank. We get less of Frank in this movie though, which is good, which is fine. It's Buzz kind of gives this whole speech about how sorry he is to my brother Kevin. I apologize. And then he goes, beat that, you trout sniffer.
What is a trout sniffer?
I guess he says he smells fish, but like that's not really much of an insult. Are you Urban Dictionarying this? Trout sniffer. What we got?
Buzz McAllister calls Kevin.
Ha! This is a term coined by Buzz McAllister.
Someone who smells the inside of a female's underwear.
Oh. Okay. Buzz, it's not really much of an insult.
No, not really.
I mean, I guess it makes you a little weird.
Creepy.
But like, could have been worse.
Could have been a butthole sniffer.
Mm-hmm. Could have called him something about a trouser snake. That's where I thought he was going to go with it originally.
Trout penis.
Yeah, penis.
Deer penis.
So Kevin's like, I don't know how you guys aren't seeing this, but since you're all so stupid, I'm not going to apologize to you. Handles it really wrong.
He was not wrong.
He's not wrong,
but
he could have handled the situation better. He did not read the room very well.
He could have simply said, Mommy just called me a trout sniffer. Been a little snitch. I'd have been okay with it because Buzz is a dick.
Yeah, but no, he just blows up.
And then, my favorite line, this part right here is when he's like, Frank's like, you better be careful. Your dad spent lots of money getting this trip for us or prepared this trip for us. And he goes, oh, sorry, Mr. Cheapskate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank Byrne. Frank. I love that. I just put Frank Byrne in my notes. Then he's right back in the attic. We don't even get like a lecture.
Yeah, they do kind of. Like she's like, well, maybe if you got your wish last year, you'll get it again.
Well, like I said, his mom comes in and she's got shorter hair this year. She doesn't have the long hair; she has short hair.
Yeah.
The mom haircut. And she's like, that really embarrassed us. Pretty much like what it says in the first one.
And then he's like, that's when he was like, well, Buzz was lying. He was just kissing ass.
She's like, I'm sure it wasn't that bad. And he's like, well, you know what? I wish I was alone. Why are we even going to Florida with
which is
no Christmas tree?
Like, I know some people.
Some people like to. I mean, hey, going to Florida in the winter is nice, but Christmas
time,
be home on Christmas.
You ain't gotta be home. Like if you got family down there, yeah. But they weren't going. They weren't even going for family.
No, it's like a vacation. But no, people should be around family and honestly toward their homestead around the Christmas season.
Somebody's homestead.
Even the day after Christmas or something, take a vacation. But Christmas time is a sacred time.
Yeah.
For sure. She's like, well, your wish came true last year. Maybe it'll come true again this year. It's like, damn.
And then what does he say? He's like, I wouldn't be like, he like gets all the like sheltered and like Brink comes back and he's like, well, maybe I will.
Yeah.
Like he's like sad, but he's, I don't know. Sad. It's
sad. And some people will be like, well, last year all he talked about is how much he missed his family. Why would he just turn around and he spent a year with these people again. It's pretty. You could spend 20 minutes with people that you love and immediately hate them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to forget the lessons you've learned when you're annoyed.
Time.
Yeah, when you're annoyed over time.
Because once you get annoyed, you don't remember, like, oh,
yeah.
I love
and I think
no,
that little bit of like,
well,
maybe I will. It's kind of like him thinking like, oh, well, I don't really mean it. He's not as... like he was in the first one where he was like, I hate you guys. I wish you guys weren't in my life.
He's very...
a little more reserved. But at the same time, he's very annoyed. And he wants some Kevin time.
He wants Christmas, and he wants a Christmas tree, and he cannot get a pine tree in Florida.
And he wants alone time.
Yeah.
Which he gets. Then we cut to the morning where they go, we did it again!
And then you get that classic scene, everybody scrambling around.
And also, you get the same van as the last one, smashing the statue again. But we don't get as much statue hitting in this one, so it was like a nice subtle nod to the first movie.
That was the only statue.
The only statue that we get in this movie. Yeah.
Because it was like...
And it was funny.
Hey, remember this from the last one?
Yeah, it was a little throwback, And this time, she's like, McAllister's in the first one, non-McAllister's in the second one. She's not doing the head count shit anymore.
She's not letting another kid take care of
she's doing it.
The other adult in charge, which is very smart.
Which is Frank's wife. And she goes, how many passports do you have? And she's like, 7. How many do you have? 7. 14.
7 plus 7. 14.
And then they go off to their vans. And then she's like, where's Kevin? And Kevin turns around from the front seat. Yeah. He's like, right here. I ain't letting you guys. He says something like, I ain't letting you guys leave me behind again.
Yeah.
So it's like you could tell they've learned a little bit. They're not gonna just leave him at home. Would have been better if he was at home, but nothing ever works out for the best. Oh, and Kevin also, when they get to the airport, he asks his dad, like, "Can I have some batteries for his?"
You want battery, or they're in his
He's
bag?
like, "They're in my bag." He's like,
Just
"We'll
wait
get them
till
when
we
they get
on
there."
the plane.
And he's grabbing his dad's bag and trying to go through and find a bag. He's like, "All right, fine, you carry my bag," and they're running.
Yeah.
They're again
They are
sprinting.
sprinting through the airport, which I'm like, I haven't been to the airport that often, but
And I've never been late for a flight.
Yeah.
I'm always early. So I can only imagine having to get to a gate or else your flight leaves without you.
And they never show them going through security, which you can't run through security. So it's kind of like.
Well, I assume that they're running after the security check. It's like, do the security check.
They showed them started. They ran right as soon as they got out of the van.
I don't know. No one wants to see anyone go through a security check.
At all.
This was pre 9/11. Security in airports was way lower. See, if this was post 9/11, it'd be like run. Hey, now we're gonna need to see you guys in the back and check all of you. You're running way too fast.
Way too fast for safety.
Yeah. So, yeah. See, this was the pre, which we'll bring up again later. This is the pre 9/11 world, which was a lot more lenient
and less caring, apparently.
Touche. And then so Kevin looking down at the bag.
He stops because he finds the batteries and he's trying to put his batteries
putting them
in
the
his
thing.
Talk Boy.
And he looks up and he sees a guy in a coat who looks just like his dad from behind.
Like it's the same color coat, same type of coat as his dad's.
So he's following that guy, thinking it's his dad.
Family goes this way.
Which, when you notice that none of the rest of your family are around, it says that guy's by himself.
I mean, you would think so.
But then again, I guess he's just focused on his dad.
Yeah, he's focused on his dad. So family goes right, stranger goes left, follow stranger.
Then the McAllisters get to the plane, and they're like, "Hold on, we gotta count everybody first." And they're like, "No, we'll take care of that."
I'm like, "No, listen here, bitch."
See, I would have turned around and be like,
"That's what I would have been." I'm like, "No, I'm good.
I got this.
I'll be all right."
It's like in her hurry, she slipped up a little bit.
Where's Kevin? No, see,
nope, doesn't happen.
Right there.
And then so Kevin gets on another plane,
smashes into the flight hostess,
and all the things go up.
Tickets get mixed up.
And so she's picking
that was smart though, because they had to figure out, because if he would have handed the person the ticket,
they would have seen it was the wrong flight. Yeah.
And like, dude, this ain't your flight.
But since they got knocked,
that was a nice little smart thing.
And then she's and instead of sitting there and going through them all the planes about to leave, she's like, just as long as he locates his dad. And that's another smart thing the airline was doing. Say, as long as he locates his dad. And he's like, there he is. And she's like, and she's like, all right, find a seat. And he found a seat. And he has his headphones in too. When they're like en route to New York.
If I was a 9-year-old me, I felt like I would have went up to my dad and been like, "Hey, Dad, where do you want me to sit?" or something.
Because he doesn't notice it till way later.
Yeah.
But he sits there and he puts his headphones on, and that's when the flight attendant comes on and says, "This flight to New York City."
He puts his headphones on because he asks the dude next to him a question, or if he's ever been to Florida, and then he starts speaking French to him.
Oh yeah.
And then he's like, "Okay."
Which, had he been like, "Have you ever been to Florida?" and the guy spoke English, he would have said, "What? Why are we talking about Florida?"
Right.
So again, another kind of miscommunication that would cause this to happen. Everything had to perfectly align itself. You know what I mean?
That was smart writing to throw all those little things in.
It was because plot holes are a thing in a lot of movies.
They filled these ones,
and they wanted to make sure that even if it's a stretch, it makes sense.
It does. Good writing.
So when people like us sit here and go through and try to pick apart things, it makes more sense.
Right.
And we're like, oh, that's very smart writing. So John Hughes, the deceased, ever lovely John Hughes. Very good. He did a lot of great work.
A lot of great.
Uncle Buck.
Planes, Trains, and
The Great Outdoors. Breakfast Club. 16 Candles. Weird Science.
What was the other? Pretty in Pink. Did he do Pretty in Pink?
I think Pretty in Pink. She's Having a Baby, which is not really a known movie. It's a Kevin Bacon movie.
He's done a lot of
pretty much every John Candy movie. Yeah. You worked a lot with John Candy. Molly Ringwald and the Brat Pack itself. Brat Pack. Okay. But yeah, John Hughes. And then we get this great scene where they're at the baggage claim. Like, and it's back. Like one of his favorites. It is one of my favorite scenes.
Like, I think he laughed hardest at this scene.
And then later we'll get to the scene that you laughed at the most. But they're handing the bag, they're like, give this to Kevin. I mean, this is a subtle thing. Most people don't laugh at this. Give this to Kevin. Give this to Kevin. Give this to Kevin. He goes, here you go, Kevin. And he turns around and it's like this old couple. And he's like,
his face.
It's like, it's forever embedded in my soul. Fuller's face. And then so Kevin gets to New York City, looks out the window and realizes this is not Florida. Because it's cold out there.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of big buildings.
I mean, I've never been to Miami. I'm sure there's a bunch of big buildings, but I think he knew.
Florida don't look like New York.
He knew he was in New York.
It's easy to tell. It's easy to tell. New York's also the giant buildings. One of the most
distinct skylines in history.
And buildings. Like, it's got historic buildings.
It's a skyline.
Building. Yeah. And it's got the historic bridges and shit. And also it's got a haze of just city work. Yeah. Like, it's pretty, and also it's such a congested, like, it's easy to tell.
Yeah.
And he knows. Even a young kid's like,
even though he asks,
he does, but that's why he asked. He wouldn't ask if he didn't think something was up. He's like, where am? What city are we in? And you're like, New York. Like, why would you ask me what city you're in when you just flew here?
Just got off the flight for you.
Right. And then parents freaking out, but they go to the police station and they kind of make a couple of jokes about how it's a McAllister family tradition now.
He's like asking if he's ever happened. They're like, no.
Like,
oh,
well,
wait, this is
because the
become a
dad's like,
tradition.
you're really gonna act like,
hey, tell him the truth.
She's like, well, he's like, we never lost our luggage.
And then
the cops
they
just
die laughing at that.
But it's more of a nervous. They don't know what to do. Like,
yeah, but then the cop is literally just like,
your kid is lost,
and you're over here cracking jokes.
Yeah, like what are you? Which is a funny contrast from the cops in the last one.
I think I need to call CPS.
Yeah, whereas the cops in the first one were just like, oh, you're crazy.
You gotta hype her on too.
And this time he's like, what? Why are you so calm about this? Like, let's
Which is true. They were more calm in this one about it. Maybe because they're like,
because it's happened before.
He's been through this. We're good. He didn't die last time. I'm sure he'll be all right.
And I think this film is less about that.
Yeah.
And more about Kevin's story.
Yeah, it's not about
because in the first one, half of the story is how they feel about leaving
back.
them. Yeah, her getting to her child.
Trying.
That's part of the last movie. This one has a different theme, a little bit. So then Kevin's like, I'm in New York all by myself. I'm in New York all by myself.
Now he's like, my family's in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm in New York.
My family's in Florida.
You gotta get the lines right,
though. I'm in New York.
Yeah, he gets all happy about it.
Because again, all he wants is some time to himself. Here you go.
Well, I think this is like he wants to celebrate Christmas right. You can't do it in Florida with no snow.
You can do it. You can do it because the Rockefeller Plaza
multiple times. Like Christmas trees is his thing, his favorite.
And
thing.
Rockefeller Plaza's got that big ass Christmas tree. Also, where 30 Rockefeller Plaza is where SNL is filmed.
Yeah.
So and they had to walk by that traffic for the damn Rockefeller Plaza every goddamn week. So bravo to that. It must be.
They gotta have like a special.
Most of them live in their offices during the on season. So he does what you would do. He gets a taxi. He's got his head hanging out the window. He's going to the sites, the Twin Towers.
He goes to the Twin Towers and goes to the top of the Twin Towers. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's always fun to see pre 9/11 New York setting movies to see the towers. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And all the beauty. That's something I never got to see, obviously.
I never got to see it either. And it's absolutely insane that it's just gone. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's always nice. It's
pretty. It's kind of like a.
And that we at least captured it on film, so we'll forever have it. And so yeah, any movie taking place in New York pre 2001, I always look to see if I could see them.
Oh, yeah.
Which 90% of the time you can because they were huge. So, let's see here. Oh, and then we get reintroduced to the bandits. They're in the back of a fish truck, which I'm assuming they broke out of jail and just jumped on a truck.
Jumped in the first truck they come across.
Which you would if you're fleeing prison. And he goes,
"You smell that,
Marv?" He's like, "Yeah, fish."
And he goes, "You know what that is?"
Oh yeah, yeah.
Smell fish.
No.
Smell
freedom. No, it's fish.
Smell fish.
No,
it's freedom, Marv,
and money. Okay, it's freedom.
It's
fish.
I love that change.
Yeah,
I love Harry and Marv. The chemistry between Stern and Pesci is fantastic, and it's great to see it carry over.
Yeah, like it just they spent so much time together. You could tell. At least if the actors haven't, the characters have. And Marv is like wrapping his hand in like tape. And he's like, "We're the sticky bandits now," and he sticks his hand in like the Salvation Army's things, and he pulls out, and there's like change all over his hand. He's like, "Great, Marv, you busted out of prison to steal a bunch of pocket change from Santa Claus."
I love how they say Santa Claus.
And he's like, "It's our new calling card.
We're not the wet bandits. We're the sticky bandits." And right after that, they bump into Kevin at this point, don't they?
Well, they walk kind of by him.
They walk by
the
him,
taxi.
Harry bumps into him, and then he turns around.
Oh,
and looks at him, and it's like Harry kind of was like,
And then Kevin runs into the pigeon lady
Yeah.
and gets super freaked out for no real reason.
You would think he would have learned not to be so judgmental.
But that time, that was his home. This is a place he doesn't know.
Yeah.
So stranger danger is a thing, especially in New York City. Then Marv gets his hand stuck on this lady's purse. And as he's trying to pull her off, it looks like he's trying to take her
Trying
purse.
to take it from her for a
So
second.
she hits
kinda
him.
Gets scared for a second, slaps him.
So she turns around and sees him. It's almost like
Yeah.
she's so unintimidated by him.
Because he looked.
Then she just hits him. And he's like, I think she likes me.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Kevin goes to the Plaza Hotel, and a brief cameo by our now president, Donald
POTUS,
Trump.
Which is, at that time, I don't know if he still does, but he owned the Plaza.
I'm sure he did. I'm sure that was part of the deal.
Yeah.
It's like, you could film
You
here,
can film here, but I
gotta be in it for like a little bit.
It's pretty smart.
And hey, you know, it's a way to.
Oh, yeah.
He's good at that kind of shit, marketing and shit. And he calls the Plaza and he has his tape recorder and
Yeah.
plays it on like what, slow-mo?
Ding. Oh yeah. It's like
Well, what's the exact
He
line?
records it, and it's the I'm Peter McAllister, the father.
Yeah, and he like plays it in like slow-mo.
Because he records it, talks, and then he does it play in slow mo.
So it sound deeper.
So it's more believable.
But it's like way
way
low,
like, yeah.
as it would be
And
in
then
slow
it's
mo.
like, the father
I would like a room with
with
a
a
TV
TV
and a king size bed.
and one of those refrigerators that takes a key. Yeah,
As long as you have a major credit card, sir.
you can get
Credit
whichever you want.
card.
You got it.
It sounds like so
Awful.
unhuman.
Like it's like you almost at that point. it's
Like I'd
honestly-
be like, what?
What? Can you repeat that? You got it.
We need you to say that whole thing again.
Hear that over
Okay, there it
over.
is. Like, I'd be the skeptical
Yeah.
operator. So I'd be like, this
a little questionable here.
seems like Ghostface is called the Plaza Hotel. Like, this is so odd. So he goes and to check in, but he's like, how am I going to check in? I'm a kid. But he has this really good story about how his dad's here on business,
He's a
but
good
he doesn't
liar.
like to sit. Yeah, he's a really good liar. She's like, are you checking in by yourself? He's like, me?
Well, he's like-
ma'am? I'm 9 years old.
Well, he goes up and he goes, I have a reservation for McAllister. She's like, a
Yeah,
reservation
she goes-
for yourself.
You have a reservation?
It's funny.
And he's like, me by
Disbelief.
myself? Absolutely not. He makes up a good story. Like, my
His
dad's a
his dad had a
businessman,
meeting and he had to go to it.
and I didn't
he
want to wait
sit,
in the
So
lobby.
he dropped me off.
Yeah.
And told me to check in. And he gave me his credit card and all his money in his bag. Which is, I mean, I would have believed it. I still would have been like, well, let's put you in a set.
So she takes it and he goes up to his room, and then Tim Curry is playing the manager, the concierge, and Rob Schneider is playing Cedric, the bellhop.
Bellhop, yeah.
And Rob Schneider sitting there counting tips. He's like, Cedric, don't count your tips in public. And also, that boy, follow him around. I want to know everything.
Why would you I don't? Okay, I get it.
Well, it looks a little odd when a young kid is just
Yeah,
walking
but
up and getting a
Then
room.
it's even a little more odd when you're like,
Follow him
follow
around.
the little boy around the hotel, sir. It's not creepy at all.
But it's Tim Curry. He's always got a little bit of a double agenda. So Cedric carries his bags upstairs and he's kind of holds his hand out for a tip.
He gives him a piece of gum.
He gives him a piece of gum.
Love it. I like the next part.
Yeah, yeah. I lost my place. Then he goes to the pool and he's like, "Hey, do you mind if I practice my cannonballs?" And they're like, "Nah, not really." And he's like, "Which, yeah, cool people in this hotel.
Which this was not actually at the Plaza. This was at the
Why?"
no.
I was assuming it'd be a YMCA kind of thing.
Where was it? It was in Chicago. It was in the Four Seasons in Chicago because the Plaza didn't have a hotel on site or a pool on site. So they filmed it at Four Seasons.
Yeah, and he does a cannonball, and when he does, he comes out of his shorts.
Well,
Bec-
I think he'd come out of shorts while swimming through.
Yeah, like when he
Because
jumps
they
in
show
and
him
he's.
swimming.
Well, I think when he jumps in and is like coming up,
Yeah.
I think that up pressure pulled because that's happened to me before.
Oh yeah, I've had it happen before, but then I was like, okay, so how did they lose shorts? And like, I mean, but he pointed out it's probably his dad's shorts he's
Because
wearing.
he's got his dad's
He's got
bag.
his dad's bag.
And I'm assuming he doesn't have.
He has none of his.
He doesn't have his
clothes.
bag because they were saying give this to Kevin.
Yeah.
That has his swimming trunks and shit in it.
Yeah.
So he had to use his dad's shorts.
See, I didn't catch that. I'm stupid.
Well, it's not something I didn't even think about it until like this last time I watched it before I
Yeah.
came over here. I was like, that kind of makes sense because I always just assumed it was a kid thing because it happens in movies sometimes. Then he gets this big ass ice cream sundae. That thing's huge, man. Like those scoops of ice cream are like ginormous.
Because it's the plaza.
It's the
Everything
plaza.
is
And I'm sure that was like $30.
Oh yeah, dude. They have it. They have a list in here because it shows the bill of everything that he ordered.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The room service bill said 2 chocolate cakes, 6 chocolate mousses with chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry ice cream topped with M&Ms, chocolate sprinkles, cherries, nuts, marshmallows, caramel syrup, chocolate syrup, strawberry syrup, whipped cream, and bananas. 6 custard flans, a pastry cart, 8 strawberry tarts, and 36 chocolate-covered strawberries.
That was $917.
I mean,
It's the plaza.
I don't know if he might have got like maybe because he was watching Angels with Filthier Souls, maybe he had to rent it, so that was another $20 or $10.
So just in room service fees, though.
Yeah, well, that was $917 right there.
Fuck.
Them 36 chocolate covered strawberries probably cost $100
Oh god.
because I bet you
They're probably out of season too.
Yeah, wintertime.
Yeah, so I get that. But damn, Kevin, why did you not know room service cost money?
He didn't care.
But that's true. He probably didn't think he's gonna be alive.
$917.
We'll get there. So he watches Angels with Even Filthier Souls, which is funny because it's a sequel to Angels with Filthy Souls, the first one.
Yeah, good. Another.
And-
I like all that they have
tape
so many
it?
parallels.
Oh yeah, it's like same writer.
Yeah, I mean,
It-
but
it- but, like, he just-
continuously nod.
Each this was a subtle one
Oh, yeah.
because they just flashed the tape real quick. I mean, yeah, you see that it's like the first one, but that they made a title for it. It
Yeah.
made it so sequel-y sounding. Tim Curry then shows up and he's like trying to snoop, and he knocks and he comes in. So Kevin runs and
starts the shower.
starts a shower, and he has this inflatable clown on pulleys, like he had, the pulleys in the first
Dancing
movie.
around.
And he's got
playing
Frank's
Uncle Frank's
shower
shower
singing. And he's got a shower cap on it too. And
So Uncle Frank does the whole "get out of here, nose little pervert" to
Tim Curry
Tim
goes,
Curry.
"Oh!"
His reaction was priceless. Like Tim Curry's facial expressions in this
Or
movie,
his
are on
facial
point.
expressions always
They're
are
on
just
fleek.
fantastic. And he goes to run out and he hits his leg on the stool,
Like,
and
yeah.
he does the total concierge thing where even though he's in pain, he picks it up and puts it right back in place and then
And
runs
then
out.
away. Must leave as I found.
Yes. And then Kevin and his mom are both in separate parts of the world,
Yeah.
missing each other. And it's like they show it
It's
side
very
by
sad.
side. It's touching. What did I was writing with my left hand here. There's no way I'm going to read what that says. Oh, the tips. Say, he goes, "Hey, do you want to?" He's like,
Yeah.
I dry cleaned your underwear for you. He's like, "Christ, man.
Bring that down.
Bring it in here. Come on. You can't leave it out there for all the girls to see." And he's like,
He
"All
asked
right."
him if you want another
He's like, "You want
tip?"
another tip?" And he's like,
He's
he pulls the
"No,
gun
still
out his
got
mouth.
mine from yesterday.
And he's like, "Okay."
whips out this wad of cash. He's like, no tip.
Okay.
Okay.
And then he's like, "Wait." It's a beautiful trickery.
Love Rob Schneider.
Yeah.
I wonder who taught him that. It's
Wait,
probably
wait.
Frank.
Wait.
Bet Frank taught him that.
Maybe even his dad taught him that. His dad's a little mischievous.
His dad's not a cheapskate.
No,
Frank is.
Frank. Well, Frank wouldn't have even shown the money.
True.
Okay. So then Tim Curry's character figures out that the credit card is reported because they said if he tries to use the credit card, we'll find that's how we're gonna find him.
Yeah.
So it's reported stolen. So Tim Curry, there's a scene where he goes, "Aha, stolen."
And at this point, right before this, Tim Curry apologizes to him.
Yes,
And then he's
yes,
like,
that's where I wrote here.
Your limousine with your very own cheese pizza.
Yeah, he gets a limousine with a large cheese pizza.
That's probably with the $917.
That's true. The limousine was probably like $600. Dude, have you ever rented a limousine before? I've never. How much was a limousine?
A couple hundred.
Okay, and then a large cheese pizza to be delivered to the limousine.
Yeah. So, and then I'm pretty sure the limousine had all kinds of snacks in it too, like ice cream.
That he was eating.
And he was watching The Grinch.
Yeah, and then the Grinch does that whole which
like,
hey, stay tuned. We'll be doing the Grinch a couple weeks. And then he goes, and then it cuts to Tim Curry, who's going
as he finds out about the stolen credit card, and it like fits perfectly because Tim Curry's face
he does it so well. And then a light comes on behind him, and goes bing. It's wonderful. Like just to think of that with your shots and stuff when you're directing the movie. That's like that's a beautiful.
It will come off all that together. And then we get right after that. Then we get the scene with the sticky bandits talking about how they're gonna rob.
Yeah. So Marv is ice skating, and Harry's like, "Marv, come here," and he like skates up and he grabs this person and twirls her scarf off of him and wraps it around him. So he's just stealing random shit.
And I'm like, how do these people not know? Like, he steals somebody's beanie hat.
No, he steals someone's cowboy hat.
Well, no, that was in the park later. But at this point, he steals somebody's earmuffs, which I'm definitely going to notice if you take those.
Cold ears.
And then he steals somebody's hat, which I'm definitely going to notice if you steal that, like a beanie hat off of somebody's head. I'm like, these people, I'm like.
Plot. Yeah, moving forward. But it's just a funny thing. He's just stealing all this random shit for no reason, just because he wants to.
Right.
Because he's a bad guy, you know? Let's see here. And they said, hey, basically Harry's like, hey, you know, we're going to hit up next. We're not doing houses anymore. He's like, we're going to do the place they least expect us to do.
What would be popular at Christmas time? And he's like, candy stores.
He's like, no, Marv, 8-year-olds rob candy stores. He's like, we're robbing a toy store. Which is funny because then Kevin's on his way to a toy store.
To this exact toy store.
But they don't know that. No. But they don't know any of that. He goes to Duncan's Toy Chest.
Which Harry and Marv are there at this point.
Yes, they're in these little.
We skipped up a little.
Well, they're in these little tiny houses, and like these like little kid like whatever play
houses, you know that.
And they both poke their heads out of them.
They're talking.
Marv's like, why would you not notice adults are standing in these things?
Walking by, and their heads are popped out, and they're just talking. So it's like
what's going on here?
I would be like.
Marv
creepy
goes,
looking dude.
Hey, it's really nice in here, but it doesn't have a bathroom.
Oh, shit.
Like, why would they put a toilet in a display in a kid's house?
In a display. Why would they put a toilet in that period?
I know. I'm just saying, like, even if it came with a toilet, why would there be a display of a toilet? I'm just saying if it did, because you know what happens to the display toilets at Home Depot? Sometimes people poop in them.
Johnny Knoxville poops in them.
And another stand-up comedian, John Mulaney, Donald Glover.
Son, yeah.
Donald Glover, because he was from adopted family.
Yeah.
And he said his little brother did like shit in it. And he's like, then this old lady just walked up and like went to like look at it. She was like, "Oh my god!" And then all the security came, all because there was a poop in the Home Depot toilet.
Wasn't there a scene in like Grown Ups 2, I think, where they did that?
Do you know how long it's been since I watched Grown Ups 2?
It was one of the Adam Sandler.
One of those like 400 Adam Sandler movies.
It was a newer one.
God, that's probably why I didn't watch it. Any post Jack and Jill Adam Sandler, I usually don't partake in. Anyway, back to the movie that we're talking about. So the bandits are in their tiny houses talking about when it's nighttime, they're gonna come out and take the money.
Yeah.
Kevin's in the toy store, and he goes up to check out, and he's got a couple of little things, which
It's like a
racks up.
little band thing, whatever. And then it's like what, $30?
Yeah, because it's New
Value.
York, inflation and shit. And he pays, and the guy at the cash register is talking about how they take all the money that goes in on this day, they put it in this box, and that goes to this children's hospital.
Well, it was at the end of the day, at the end of this day, because I think it's Christmas Eve at this point.
Yes, it's Christmas Eve.
It's Christmas Eve, and at the end of Christmas Eve, everything in the cash registers goes to the hospital for children's hospital for the kids Christmas. But also they have a donation chest that has been collecting money for however long, probably a couple months.
A lot of money,
and there's a lot of money in that in itself, and that also goes to it.
But think about it,
so
man.
He asked him if he wanted to donate.
Christmas Eve is like the busiest time for toy stores, so he takes all that money and just gives it away to this charity. That's a generous man. And Kevin goes, all right, I'm not supposed to use this money because, it's kind of like my safety safe, but these kids need it more than I do.
So he gives it to him, and then that's when he's like, well, since you were so generous and did this, they give him the option.
You can take something off the tree.
It's this cool little feature that, that focus on this film like we talked about.
Yes. Because he says you can take something off the tree, and he's like, oh, really? He's like, may I make a recommendation that you take the turtle doves? And he's like, 2 turtle doves. He's like, because the key to the turtle dove is that you keep one for yourself, and you give the other one to someone very special in your life, and that no matter what happens or where you are in the world, that person will always be special to you and know the same about how you feel about them. Then that's a beautiful
sentiment.
Yes, and this the way he describes it. Really just, and later we'll see that's a theme of this film.
It
is doing for others, not yourself.
Caring,
spreading love.
Yeah,
and that. Oh gosh, so much. We'll get to all that. So then right outside, the bandits see, Harry sees Kevin from behind. And because, the last time they saw each other, Harry was going to jail and Kevin did the wave thing. So that's burning in his mind.
Right there.
And he's like, oh, look at this. Here's the kid. And he's looking at
the map of, I'm pretty sure it looks like a map of New York.
And a shadow is just creeping over it.
And you see Kevin's face is kind of like getting a little
He's like,
curious
who's behind me?
What's going on? And they go, hey, you pal. And Harry's very distinguished voice, and he immediately knows who it is and gets terrified, and turns around, like drops the book and turns around and sees him.
And they're doing like and
they like go to grab him, and he screams.
And everyone will turn around.
Stops, like it pans out, everybody just stops. Which is exactly what would happen if you have a 9-year-old screaming that loud
at 2 grown men. So they back up instantly because they're like, let's not go right back to jail.
Right.
And he books it, and they book it after him. And he goes to like this. It's kind of like when the people selling bootleg movies and stuff, and they got like pearls.
Some bootleg pearls.
Yeah, and he breaks them, and he strings all the.
Kevin's a genius.
Like that was quick thinking. Oh
he
yeah,
is a genius. All the traps he sets up. I mean, he's smart. He is on point with these traps.
But this one, that's like thinking right off the top of your head. He sees it, and is like, I can use that.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like
he takes it, he breaks it, and he slings all the pearls on the ground. Beads. They're beads. Slings the beads on the ground, takes off, and they run, and they don't look, and they slip right on the beads. Gandhi. Muhammad as Gandhi. And he actually gets into the back of like this carriage that this couple is on. That's not yet? Oh, no. Yep, you're right. He runs into the hotel. Tim Curry grabs him, and he's like, where are you going in such a hurry?
Well, he doesn't grab him.
Well, he's like, kind of like, hey.
Like, what does he say? He comes up and he goes, help, these 2 men are after me. And they go, Are they after you because you tried to use your
A
stolen credit card?
Perhaps the police would like to hear about this. So Kevin just runs, books it to the
Set up,
room
but
so he can get his stuff
upstairs.
together.
Starts packing his things up, and of course,
Even packs a couple cookies from the fridge.
well, first of all, I get why the concierge is up there, and I get why
The two
Fred
security
with the
guards.
gimpy, the security guard, is up there. But why is the hostess front desk lady up
Well,
there?
because
and
at
the
first when he's
bellhop
running to the
Cedric?
elevator, Cedric and they're all running and they all hit each other and fall over.
that's
So
funny.
they're like trying to get him as revenge. They're getting the guards. It's just kind of like when shit goes down, you want to see it kind
Yeah,
of thing, I
more
think.
or less.
So they go up to his room and he plays the Angels with Filthier Souls, similar to what he did with the pizza guy, where it says,
Which this is much better.
yes,
in
because
my
the
opinion.
lines where he's like, what does he
It
say?
says you were smooching with my brother.
Well, at first he's like, I smelled you when you got off the elevator. And they're like, what? And he's like, you were here last night too, weren't you? Because he was there the night before. He's like, yes, I was. And he's like, and you were smooching with my brother. And he's like, what? I did not. He's like, you're a smooch with everybody. Starts naming all these guys. And he goes, Cliff.
With a gimpy leg.
Well, he said Mo with the gimpy leg. And he says, Cliff. And they go,
And that's the security guard.
he's got a name badge. That's
He's
Cliff.
like,
He's like,
it's
it's a
not
lie.
true.
It's a lie. I swear.
This is really funny because this is old guy that it's like,
And he's like, I want you to beg for it.
please and tell me you love me.
They all get on their knees
He's
like,
like, you heard him. Get on your knees.
I love you. You know what? I must be off my rocker.
Because I believe you. But my Tommy gun don't.
I'm going to give you to the count of
three.
three.
He gives him the three.
Yeah,
this
he
one,
does give
only
it three. To hit your
lousy, stinking, no good, rotten car
off
out my door.
1, 2.
This one, like the actress on this, there's 1, 2, 3 count, and then he starts lighting up. And the actress, which I just think it's funny, whoever she is in the Filthier Souls, is just shimmying around, and then like everything behind her is just kind of exploding.
Yeah, like it's going through her
Yeah.
and not like actually hitting her.
No like holes on her.
She's shimmying by all the bullets.
It was funny.
It is. The first one, it's kind of like that too. The guy's
Yeah.
like,
But at least the guy was like kind of.
Yeah, she's
just like this.
these bullets and making grenades. But yeah, and then so the gun starts going off, and they're like, "Wah," they get on the ground.
And they like crawl out the door.
Yeah,
And Curry is like,
he's like, everyone's back in your room.
rooms. There's a madman with a gun.
There's a mad, or the guest has gone mad. And he has a gun, and he's like, go to the
And everybody, it's like everybody else
everyone else is just standing there
knows
looking.
that it's fake.
No, it's a
It's
television.
literally like everybody else knows it.
Barbie girl.
You know how freaking hilarious it would be is if like they didn't tell anybody on that floor what was going on,
And they were all just like peeping on.
and they just turned that TV volume up as blast, so everybody that popped their heads out was like an actual reaction. And then they just see Tim Curry, Rob Schneider, and these other actors crawling on the floor. I'm like, what in the hell is going on?
This is the oddest stay at the plaza I've ever had. But yeah, it was. I love Tim Curry. I'm a huge Tim Curry fan, and just like this cements that definitely. God. So then he runs out the back of the hotel, and who does he run into? The bandits.
and Marv.
Harry's got the McAllister M still burned on his hand.
It's like he jumps into it, and it's like they free it. They go.
They
slow-mo on it
go up on it.
twice. It's
Mhm.
this nice little montage of it.
So they grab him and they're kind of just walking him away. And Marv tells him their whole plan. He's like, tonight we're gonna have Duncan's toy chest, tons
Literally
of money.
tells him everything.
And he's like, then we get a couple of phony passports. We go
going to Rio.
to Rio. He's like, Marv, do you want to shut up now? What? What difference is he gonna? Who's he gonna tell? The fish?
He's not gonna sell him the fish or maybe the Undertaker,
Hmm.
which Kevin didn't get the fish because he was kind of just. And then when he got the Undertaker, he was like, "Did you catch that?"
Yeah, because I think the fish is more of like his jab at Harry for the whole fish freedom talk earlier.
fish.
here. Oh, and then so we get another like take on the Sticky Bandits thing as they're kind of waiting to go shoot Kevin. Uh, Kevin grabs this lady's butt.
Yeah, she grabs his butt, and she turns around,
and it's the same lady from earlier.
with Marv,
And she recognizes Marv.
Instantly thinks it's him,
and he goes,
punches him.
"Hey!" She punches him, and he's like, "He did it!" Points at Harry, and she punches him, and he's like, "Thanks!" And she's like, and walks away, and then he just runs the other way, and then so they're chasing after him, and he runs through this crowd of kids and gets in the back of this carriage, and they're ripping hats off kids trying to find him.
Yeah.
And Marv's like, I got him, Harry. He's like, Marv.
That was the hat that he wore.
Yeah.
Similar to the hat he wore in the first one.
And he's like, nah, Marv, it's the wrong kid. Put him down. Put him down. Like, that kid must have been freaked the fuck out.
Yeah.
This gets ripped up by Daniel Stern. Then we cut to the McAllisters who are watching since they're in Florida near the border, they're watching a Spanish movie because they're at like kind of like a shitty motel.
Has no cable, and they just got
because once again their vacation.
Piece of crap foil
once again, their vacation is cut short by the fact that Kevin's not with them.
Which I'd be kind of pissed if I was there.
Like that. First, we didn't get to go to Paris. Well, we did,
but we didn't enjoy
Paris. It's like, damn it, another vacation screwed. Which I don't think there was as many of them as there were in the first one. You know what I mean? Like the cousins, there wasn't as many.
No, I don't think so either.
A smaller vacation this year. Probably couldn't get all those kids back. So yeah, they track him with the credit card. And he's like, I wonder if he'd be smart enough to go to my brother's house. Because his uncle lives in New York.
Paris?
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, but his place is getting renovated. So Kevin does go to where the house is. Like, he knows where their house is at. He's smart enough, obviously. And he's like calling for them, and they're not there, obviously, because they're
Aunt Georgette.
It's your favorite nephew, Kevin. Yeah. And so it's getting dark now. And like all the street trash is out, like the prostitutes and the weird people tweaking on meth.
All these creeps.
And so he's getting freaked out as you would.
In a shitty part.
Oh yeah, he's in a bad part.
Central Park, which is like, I mean, I've never been to New York, so I don't really know.
But New York's the kind of thing you take a wrong turn and you're in a bad part of town. Like you go from like good part of town, bad part of town, good part. It's everywhere. So he's in a shady area, especially around Central Park. It's a goddamn nightmare. And he gets in a taxi, and he's like, "Oh man, it's scary out there." And he turns around, and like one of his eyes is blind.
Fat guy.
And he's like, "It's not much better in here, kid." And he's like,
freaks him out. Which then again, kind of like,
he's a taxi driver, like,
stay in the cab, kid.
But freaked out by the guy, runs out, and who does he run into?
Well, he gets stuck.
Well, he gets stuck on a branch. Like he gets his foot
rock.
Caught. Is it a rock?
I think it's a rock. Like he's trapped in between rocks because he ran into her and he was trying to run away from.
Yeah, and he gets his foot stuck.
And he gets his foot stuck in a rock, and she comes over and he's screaming in her face.
And she just pulls his leg out.
His foot out, and then he starts running away. And then he's like,
"Wait a second, she helped me.
Just helped me. I should not be a dick."
So he turns around and he starts talking to her, and she's pretty cool.
Yeah, they get a little good conversation.
And then he's like, "You want to go get some hot chocolate?"
It's on me.
It's on me.
I'm rich.
And so she takes him to where she stays at, which is like there's Carnegie Hall, and it's like this little like loft where like they keep the extra instruments and like
storage space.
It's like up in the top, and so she's there with the birds, and so but she can hear the most beautiful music coming from Carnegie Hall. She says, like, I've heard some of the most famous musicians play here, and she names a few. And oh my gosh. And then she basically talks about how she was married and had a family and a home, and he didn't want to have children, but she did. And they split up. And after that, she was afraid to love again.
She kind of gave
gave up and became this pigeon lady on the
Homeless
streets
pigeon
because
street
what else
lady.
was there for her? Because every
The
time
pigeons were
someone,
her new kids.
yes, and every time that somebody would try to come into her life, she would back out in fear of that they would hurt her.
Mhm.
And that's like some real shit to be
Deep.
putting in a kid's movie.
Deep.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think until even now did I really get the full brevity of that scene. Like, till like the last time I watched it, which
Right.
was like a couple days ago, where it's like, man, like this is a really sweet lady who's just hardened by life, as a lot of people are.
She's gone through her troubled times
And
suffered.
Kevin talks about, well, you know, I had a pair of roller skates that I was afraid to wear because I was afraid some the people would make fun of me for them. He's like, so you know, I put it off and put it off, and then you know what happened? She's like, what? He's like, I outgrew them. And she's like, well, it's hard. It's you know, a person's heart and roller skates aren't the same thing.
Pretty deep concept for Kevin to come
Yeah.
up with that metaphor though.
And he goes, well, you know, it actually is pretty similar. He's like, because you know, if you're afraid to use your heart and you never do, by the time you're ready to, it might not be any good anymore.
Yeah.
It's an absolutely beautiful way of looking at life, and and he's like, you should just
It
stop.
gets you right in the field.
Yeah.
Is what it does.
He's like, you should just open up
Like,
and
don't be
let's-
afraid.
don't be afraid to care.
Which is kind of funny because in the first one you get the part with him and Old Man Marley
talking about fear.
and then he does it again with this lady. It
But
just
like in a
gets
deeper
deep.
way.
Yeah.
Because like Old Man Marley, it was like, just hey, your son, don't be afraid of what'll
And
happen
in this one it
if
was
it goes
like,
wrong.
just love, period.
Yeah.
Just don't
Now
be
when it was like
afraid.
try, even
Yeah.
if it'll hurt. And in this one, it's like when life
Never
fucks
stop
you
trying.
over, never stop caring, never stop letting people in. That's deep as shit. That's one of the themes in this that makes me love it more than the first one. Has nothing to, the first one is a fantastic movie. Obviously, without it, we don't get this, but that theme alone. And he goes to that hospital that the Duncan's money's going to.
I don't even know if that's the hospital. He's just walking by and he sees.
I'd like to think it is.
He's like, of course you like to think it is.
I mean,
no proof.
but I'd like to think it is. For me, it is. In my mind. Until
We'll go
someone
with
proves
it.
me
It's fine.
otherwise.
It's fine.
This is what that
We'll
is.
go with it.
And he's looking up in a window, and there's a kid sitting at the window who just kind of waves at him. He waves at the kid. And what she told Kevin in that scene, she's like, you've done some wrong things, haven't you? He's like, yeah. She's like, well, you know, good deeds erase bad deeds. And he's like, wow, it's getting pretty late. It's going to be pretty hard for me to reverse all the bad deeds I've done. She's like, you better get to it. And so he sees that kid, and he knows that Marv and Harry are
Yeah.
going to rob the toy store,
Has that
and
kind
that
of
money's going to go
recollection.
away. Because if Kevin were to be selfish, they're not coming after him.
No,
He could
they're
just
going after them.
he could just find a way to get back to his mom and be done. but
he
no.
knows where they're gonna be.
He knows that they're going to take the money it's supposed to go to these kids, and he takes it upon himself to fix that
stop
problem
that.
because he knows how to
He
stop
told
Harry
you
and
the
Marv.
vigilante to stop it.
And so he's doesn't got a lot of time, but he goes to his uncle's house and sets up all these traps.
He's got 3 hours to get all these traps
Yeah.
set up and get planned out and get back to Duncan's.
Then we cut to the hotel, and the McAllisters are there, and they're like, "How did you lose him?" And he's like, "Well, when I confronted him about the cars, you scared him away, you idiot."
Which is true. You probably should have had the cops there with you when you confronted the kid.
And not been so gotcha
Dickish,
with
like,
it.
Busted. Like that was just Tim Curry being an asshole.
Yeah.
Like trying to be arrogant.
And then there's this interaction where she's like, "Oh my god, my son's lost in the biggest city of the world because of you." She's like, "I'm gonna go find him," and he's like, "You wouldn't want to do that." He's like, "Man, with all due
Like
respect."
because she's talking with the husband. And whatnot,
Yeah.
and the husband's like, "No, I'll go to the police station. You stay here." She's like, "No, I'm going out."
He's like,
You
"Well, you
can't
shouldn't do
stop
that."
me.
Man, with all due respect, your son's alone in the biggest city in the world. And he's
they
like,
both look at him. The mom and dad both look
And the
Kevin.
dad's like, "Would you please just stay out of this?" Yes,
Which
of course.
At this point, you should have.
Yeah.
And then they go, okay, and continue arguing. She's like, they won't want to mess with me. I'm not in the mood. No mugger, blah, blah, blah.
But ma'am, there are
But ma'am, there are hundreds of armed criminals or criminals armed to the teeth. She turns around and slaps him. He's like, bundle up, it's cold outside. It's like, all right, you win. I'm going to shut up now. Yeah, see, you should have shut up from the get-go.
But they get a free suite, like a big where like princes and shit stay.
Oh, yeah.
They get that because of the fuck up. Because yeah, the PR on that would have been terrible if that got out.
Sued for
So then
lots
it's
and lots of
night.
money.
The bandits come out, and Harry opens up the cash register to this money, and he goes, "Merry Christmas, Harry." And Marv finds the box with all the money in it, and he goes, "Happy
Happy
Hanukkah,
Hanukkah,
Marv."
So, and they got that, and all at this point in time, they're shoving the monies in the bag and all that. And Kevin is outside.
With a brick.
Well, he's got a bucket and a board, and he's smart because he does it before he does anything else. Because
But he takes a brick and he throws it through the window because that'll set off the alarm.
right?
And it's got a note attached to it, which we'll find out later what that says. And so they run out after him, and Harry jumps onto the one side of the board, and he looks down, and he's like, "Oh crap!"
He's like, "Marv, wait!"
Marv, no, and he's like, "Oh, I'm coming, Harry!" Jumps on the other side, flips Harry into the air, lands on a car.
Part of me wants to think that's their car, but I don't know, or a car they stole. But who knows?
Either way, he's like, Marv goes, "Wow, Harry, that was amazing."
You all right?
He's like,
and he goes, "Man, I think I might have sprained my ankle on that."
yeah. Which that was like,
that was funny.
That was a great little line there.
Because he's like trying to play it off like I got hurt,
even though he went through a
smashed
car.
the car, but I'm hurt.
So Kevin's running to the house, and and his mom's coming from that house to check see if he's there. And they she gets into a cab,
and then gets in the cab and drives off,
and then he runs into it.
He runs around the corner
as she would be turning the corner.
It was
the timing, if she was the little delayed, she could have had him, and that would have been what she would have been like, "Mom, I got to stay here and do this thing." Probably like that was divine intervention that he doesn't run into her. So he's on top of the building, and they walk up. Harry's like, nah. Remember what happened last time we went in there? And he's like,
underestimated this kid.
Let's not do that again. And he's like, no, you see, this time he's not at it. That's not his house.
He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't know this place. We got the advantage on him.
And then he's on the rooftop, and
this is my favorite. I love this.
He takes a picture of him, and then Harry goes,
he's like, "Say cheese."
Harry goes, "All right, kid. Now I could shoot. Nothing would please me more than to shoot you. And I ain't got no problems killing kids.
Yeah.
So just throw me down the camera and everything will be just fine." He goes, "Okay." And they're like, he's such an idiot. And he takes a brick and chucks it. Because he goes, "Let me have it." It's Marvin.
In the
face. He falls down.
He's out, and he's like, and Harry goes up and he goes, "How many fingers do you see?" 8.
And he's like,
No.
He turns around. He's like, "All right, you think you're a smart
You
guy?
want to throw bricks?
Throw another one." He throws it.
Marvin's like, "No."
Hits him again. Harry. And he's like, "Oh, I'd like to see you throw another brick." He throws it. It hits Marv. He turns around. He's like, "What? What, Marv?" And he sees another brick. He's like,
"What, Marv? What?" He turns around and dodges it, smokes it. Like at this point in time, Marv has been hit with 4 bricks
in the head.
He's still conscious and not bleeding.
He's just like,
I was crying. I crack up every time.
You died at that scene. And it is it. Like for a couple days ago, man, I was rolling. It's because he sees it coming and he doesn't move.
Because he's half out of it.
That's true. In the first one, he wasn't paying attention. He was biting his nails. And he was, and he's like holding on to Harry for a second. And there went my elf hat. Yeah, it's whatever. Then they split up again like they normally do.
Like, you take the front, I'll take the back.
Yeah.
And then I like it because Marv is walking up the stairs and he's like swaying back and forth, still
So,
half knocked out from the.
He's like
He can't
using
keep
the
it straight.
rails to get up the stairs. He grabs the doorknob, pulls it. It's attached
It's
to a string.
and he keeps pulling the
And
string.
you'd think you'd be like, mm-mm.
Nope. I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. I'm gonna kick the door.
He's pulling it. He like turns around and he gets it. And he
It's a
pulls
staple
it.
gun.
Yeah, and it staples his ass.
Staples his butthole.
And he's like, "Ruh." And as he turns, it pulls it again.
Shoots him in the crotch.
And then as he falls, it pulls it again and shoots him in the right in the nose lip.
Oh man, it's funny. I like the traps in this one. To me, are so much better. I won't say so much better, but I just the traps in this one.
They're
are
a little
funnier.
higher, yeah. Especially their
funnier.
reactions
Yes,
to them,
the reaction.
because by now they've mastered their characters, and we get to see their completely. He takes a running start and grabs it, and he slips right off of it
Flips
because
off
it's
and
got
lands
this
on
like
it.
slimy.
It looks like Jello.
But I'm assuming
don't
it's
know
some
what it
sort of
is.
this. I'm just gonna call it slime.
We'll go with that.
And he falls. And it's dripping on his head. It's kind
He's doing his little
of
so he doesn't drop the F-bomb on a family-friendly show.
Yeah. This movie would be different. He was like, fuck, cock sucking son of a bitch.
Definitely a rated R movie. Let Joe Pesci go.
The PG-13 Deadpool, it's getting R-rated.
Let's get a R-rated Home Alone. That's a good thought.
So then Marv's like, screw it. And he kicks open the door. And he's like, Harry, I've reached the top. And he goes to step and he falls through a hole.
Face plants.
On the ground.
Body, belly bust, whatever you want to
He
call it.
sits up, he cracks his neck, and he goes, ah. And
He passes out. And then it flashes back to Harry, right?
Yeah.
And Harry goes up and he climbs up to the back door.
Well, Harry goes to the back door.
And Kevin is finishing up this trap because he didn't have much time. So he's still
he's still kind of getting it
I like
together.
this, not like that about this.
We're
too.
seeing him quickly
And when
try
you
to
see
get
him
it.
finishing these traps,
It's also like in
doing
the
these
first one, it was
traps
like
in the
they
right time.
coincidentally went where he wanted. This one, he's like, oh, they're going this way. Let me rig
he's
this
kind
this
of
way.
like he's everywhere.
So Harry comes in and like he sees the hole and he's like, ooh. And he's like afraid to turn on light switches. He's like
trying to flip him, he jumps back. And
he does it 3 times. He like frequently does it.
And the 4th time, he just like, all right, I'm safe. And he flips, doesn't he flip the light? It's a light switch that sets that trap off, right?
Oh no. When he goes to the back door, he opens it and a tool bag opens up and drops shit on his head.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Because then we cut back to Marv, who gets up and he goes, wow, what a hole. He sees a rope across the rope and he goes to get it and there's the slime on the floor. And he's like
the way he does it, like it's you can't even speak it because watching it is this whole.
He's trying to keep his balance, and then he just starts throwing his arms up, and he just
comedy
slips.
in this is so flat.
And when he hits the floor, he slides.
And it's like a shelf full of
paint cans, which just falls on him. He's like, uh oh, and it's just all over him,
covered in paint.
Then we get Harry. He dodges a hole, and he's kind of walking around all these lights. Then Marv. He wipes his face off a little bit. He sees a sink.
He tries to go wash his face off.
And he goes to turn on the sink, which is hooked up to a battery.
Kevin's ducked behind, and
he's got it.
Hooks the battery up to the metal real quick.
And he waits.
And so when Marv goes to turn on the water, he gets electrocuted. Like,
and then he's turning it up.
Over there. Kevin is killing a guy right now, basically.
And he turns into a skeleton.
And flashes his hair like poofs out and everything. It's hilarious.
Then we cut to Harry, who goes to the bathroom, and by then he's confident because 3 lights have turned on. He goes, ha! Pulls the light switch,
and once again, a flamethrower to
the head.
But this one wasn't as.
This one's like an open flame
because
it just got his hat.
Yeah,
it was like poof, and then it was on his head.
And he's just kind of walking around,
and he looks in the mirror.
And I'm sure he's realizing at this point
it's hot.
It's getting a little hot.
He's like,
so he tries turning the water on in the sink, No water.
No water.
because this
So he
house
sees
is
the
a piece of
toilet.
shit. So he sees the toilet.
And he
filled
does
with
a
water.
perfect handstand.
Very perfect.
Like just throws up into it, puts his head in it, and it's filled with lighter fluid.
Yeah.
And it just poof. The whole house is like
The whole lower level.
like that would have
explodes.
actually killed a man.
Yes. They actually, U.S. Entertainment Weekly had a doctor go through everything.
What would happen?
What would happen? And they was like, they would have been dead like 10 times.
Marv would have probably died
Marv
from head
would've
trauma.
died from head trauma or brain damage.
Died when he fell 2 stories through a hole.
Definitely.
Got electrocuted.
Yes.
Harry gets killed by the exploding toilet.
Yes. That's really Harry's only death.
Oh, and the rope,
The rope
which
fall.
we'll get to. That would kill them too, or at least maim. All the cans fall down. Heavy things falling from high places is bad.
That plaster that was
No, that would just hurt him. He might cough up some blood, but he'd be all right. Anyway,
realistic.
so yeah, that's actually where we're at. Is Marv gets to the rope and he yanks on it just to see it happen.
And it's not budging because it's a heavy bag of plaster. It's probably about 40, 50 pounds.
I think it said like no, it said like 125 pounds.
Did it?
Because I think Marv's probably close to like 200 pounds.
Yeah. So Marv, he's like once he's like
he
decided
smiles.
it's
He's
safe,
like, yes,
yes, I'm going up.
He jumps up,
and grabs it, and it just and he's like holding the rope, and then he
looks up.
Uh-oh.
Bam.
Smokes him, and it explodes. All his plaster.
So now he's got
just
paint and plaster. I'm
everything.
gonna kill that kid.
It's funny. If you have not seen this movie, you seriously need to watch it.
So then Marv builds this like tower of shit up to the top of the hole,
With just miscellaneous shit.
Yeah, just things he's
scattered throughout
finding.
this basement.
and he's climbing up it. And as he gets to it,
He's like shaking. Before he climbs up, he shakes it.
Yeah.
Solid like a rock.
he climbs up it. He's like, he's got his arms up, and then the thing falls over, and he's like hanging on to the hole. And Harry is inside
In the bathroom.
in the bathroom, kind of wiping the
Checking
smudges
his
off of him.
face and everything.
Kevin comes by.
Dashes back in front of Marv, and Marv starts
Marv's
screaming.
like, there he is! Get him, Harry!
He's like,
Get
don't you
him!"
know a kid always beats 2 idiots?
And he runs up the ladder, which he has sawed half of the support of it.
So Harry
Because
comes
his
running
weight, he
in.
weighs
His
light
weight is
enough
like-
to where he can go
100
up it.
pounds
But
probably.
Harry, when he gets on it, cause it to snap,
Yeah.
which it does, and he falls and eats it.
Harry eats the dirt on that one. Tries to chase up after him and face plants into it. And at that point, Marv's muscles kick in and he pulls himself up
Yeah.
to go help Harry.
And then like he went up the stairs, and he's like, they start to rub.
Yeah.
He's like, wait a second, Marv. We fell for this last time.
He's like, watch this. And then
He's like,
boom,
I'm
boom, boom.
coming. Paint can swings down. Oh, got me right in
Right,
the
like-
mouth.
The first one's like right in
He hit me in my mouth,
he hit him
Marv.
It says, I forget what he says, but he references his jerk. He's like right in the
No, and the second one,
Marv
Marv's is
says
that.
the schnoz.
Yeah, schnoz. And the second one, he says my mouth. He got me right in my mouth.
Nose. I don't know.
And then he goes, okay, don't worry, Harry. I'll get him. Like he's overpronouncing.
Yeah.
And he goes, he's
Oh,
laughing.
Yeah.
And it swings down. He's like,
Right in the schnoz.
ah. And then they like, all right,
That's
let's
2.
get him.
Let's go get him.
They run up, and he's got like,
I don't even know what it is. It's a big pipe of something. I
yeah,
don't even know.
and he swings
Heavy
it down,
metal.
and they look up, and they're like, oh, and it hits them both in the face, and they hit their back of their heads on the paint cans, and they fall through the hole to the ground. And he
They're
goes,
dead. That's dead.
oh, that's 3. And then he
And
cuts the
it, and
rope,
it boom, boom, boom.
falls, and Harry's like,
No.
oh,
And Marv, that's
4.
Everything about this movie is great.
Especially Marv. Marv is such a great character.
Marv and Harry, dude. The
But how they
chemistry
play
of
off
these
each other.
two as well.
Because Marv's so goofy and Harry's trying to be so serious. So then they both go up the tower. Marv's like, don't worry, I worked out all the
I
bugs
worked
from
out all the
last time.
kinks.
And then Kevin ties their door that they're about to come through to
He
this
ties a
tool chest, and he runs to the roof where he's going to climb down from the building.
Yeah.
And
So
like-
they go over to this door and they pull the door
And so the
handle,
chest
it
starts
comes
coming down
and
the
at
stairs.
That point, Marv also should have been like, "Wait, last time this happened, I got shot in the butthole, the dick, and the face."
but he goes, "Nah, what's that noise?" And they both press their ears.
They're like up
against
against
it.
it.
And it's like
It's because it's a tool
It's
chest
loud.
falling down the stairs.
It's
so got
loud.
all the tools. So it ain't
which
quiet.
if it had just toppled over, it wouldn't have done anything. But
No,
it's
but
on its wheels,
It's
like just
bouncing down
bouncing,
the stairs.
which is picking up momentum. And it hits them, door
Smashes
busts
them.
off, smashes them. And he
They
goes,
push it off, and they're like, tool chest. Like, I crack up at that every time.
besides the brick.
Besides the brick,
The brick is the most comical, but that's. And then, so Kevin climbs down the rope and he walks out. He's like, he vanished. And he looks down. He's like, hey,
And at
you
least
guys
this time,
gotta.
At least somebody didn't go. Maybe he committed
Yeah.
suicide.
Where'd he go? Maybe he committed suicide. What? No. But yeah, he's like, I'm down here. And he goes,
I'm down here, you horse's ass.
yeah. And he goes, suck on brick. He throws the
He's
brick.
throwing brick and
He
he's not
just,
even close.
he just like
Yeah, like,
moves and it smashes the ground. He's like, and it's funny because when he dodges, he's like, "Ah!" Like as if like, damn it. Because unlike Marv, Kevin moves out of the way.
And then they're like, I'm good. What he says something about going to the
Like,
cops.
I'm gonna call the cops,
Yeah.
but he already did.
Not this time.
Both times he calls the cops because in this one he
Oh.
calls. He said, "Look for the fireworks."
No, he don't-
after he's
yeah.
called the cops, which is smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just taunting them. That's the whole thing he does here.
And so they try climbing down the rope.
And he's like,
And as they're like halfway down, they're
"Harry,
like,
you're wearing
"You wearing
aftershave?"
aftershave?
No,
Harry's
Marv,
like,
it's
"No,
kerosene.
The rope is
Soaked.
soaked in it.
Why would someone
somebody
soak a rope in kerosene? And he comes up with a
Like,
lighter.
Merry Christmas. Go up.
Go up.
Go up.
He's like climbing over Marv and it hits them and they fall down. And then they hit
Like they hit the beams
the,
or something.
which
and it
flips all these
flips
paint cans up and down, and so they're covered in paint. And so Kevin runs the payphone, calls the cops, and he's running away. And as he does, he hits ice, and he's because
So
it's like he actually is now the one
Yeah.
that's slipping and falling, and they're gonna get him. And so they take him
to Central Park, which was probably the best place to take
to
him.
murder somebody because that
Pigeon Lady
happens all the
wasn't there.
time. And so yeah, Pigeon Lady comes up,
It tells
and Marv has this gun, which is
and it's
caked in
cake and
gook.
everything, like paint,
There's no way that gun
just
fires.
everything. And he's like trying to cock
Yeah.
what he can.
And so the lady comes up and Harry Marv's like, shoot her, Harry, shoot her. I'm trying to shoot her. And so she takes this bucket full of bird seed, throws it on him, and they're like, huh?
Kevin, run!
And then pigeons just come in.
Attack.
And then it's funny because Harry's just like,
Well, it's funny also is in that a pigeon flew into Daniel Stern's mouth,
Oh,
and he was like, "That was the most vile thing I've ever."
yeah,
seen."
because you know how disease ridden
That was- yeah,
those
it was
damn
pretty
pigeons
gross.
are. Because he's
Pretty gross.
because like they're on the ground and Harry's like, "Rah, rah, rah," and then Marv is just screaming, like kicking his legs.
And this is when Kevin sets off fireworks.
Yes,
let
to
the cops
alert the
know.
cops up there. The cops come, and they're. What did he say when they first come up? He says something, and he's like, "Oh, would you shut up?" He's like, "Oh, he's a little cranky because we just busted out of prison." Would you shut up, Marv?
Because they're talking about, he's like, "Oh, we missed." They said something about, "Oh, you guys are too late. You guys are missing the gift exchange in prison, like something." And he's like, "We missed Christmas night," and they were like, "Yep." That's when they were talking about,
Yeah.
"Oh, he's just cranky because we got out."
And then he's like, "Remember, this time we're the Sticky Bandits. That's STI."
Like you can't spell sticky,
Nope.
Marv, but you're the Sticky Bandits.
Yep.
You got to spell your name before you. Call
And
yourself
so Kevin goes to the Rockefeller Plaza to see the big Christmas tree. And his mom goes up to a cop and asks about him. She's like, "Do you have kids?" Because be doing. She meets up with Kevin and it's all touching. And
very emotional.
they go back to the hotel.
They don't really even show them back to
It's shown in the morning.
They just kept to the next
And they
morning.
get up.
And
Well,
Fuller.
before Mr. Duncan goes to the toy store, obviously because there was a robbery, and said about how the money's back and because they got the bandits, and he's like, also this is what broke. Worry about your window. I hope you have insurance. If not, I'll send some money later.
Says
thanks for the turtle doves, Kevin McAllister.
I don't even think he puts his name. I think he says thanks.
No, it says Kevin McAllister. But he doesn't know his name. He just knows him as your small kindness for somebody could end up really positively affecting you, because like he just gave him a turtle dove because he donated a little money. And because of that act of kindness, he saved him from losing all this charity money.
Which he does even greater charity.
Yes.
Because
they wake up in the morning and there's presents all over the suite.
Loading them up. There's a truck outside. And
yeah.
Load them all up. It's like
there's this presents
truck filled with it.
And yeah, basically Mr. Duncan pretty much probably gave him half the damn store inventory.
Yeah. And like Fuller is the first one up. And he's like, it's Christmas. And like Fuller, Santa doesn't visit.
Buzz is like, all right, Kevin is the whole reason we got this really awesome. We're not in rainy Florida. We got this awesome hotel room for free, and we get all these presents. So he should probably open up the first one, and then me, and then so on and so on.
Yeah, then make sure to emphasize himself.
Yeah, but so Kevin doesn't even think about it. He just puts the present down, doesn't even open it.
Yeah,
and he goes right to the window and he sees Pigeon Dove. She's like, a turtle dove, and he's like, no matter where, I'll never forget you, and we'll always be friends. I'm just like, he's like, Merry Christmas. And she's like, Merry Christmas, Kevin.
Merry Christmas.
He's like,
shoot up.
Yeah. He goes, oh, what a lovely family. And he walks away. And then he looks at the bill and he's like, oh, Dad. And then he cut to Kevin outside and you hear, Kevin, you spent $917 on room service. Just like the last one with Buzz yelling, cuts to black. And man, final thoughts here on Home Alone 2, because I know we ran a little over time that we wanted to.
But like I said, this movie is like just hilarious. Like the comedic factor is drastically different than the first one. Like I love the first one. I like the first one better than this one, just in the sense of it's classic but they're one. Like
one story.
I can't just watch
this is the Kevin McAllister story.
Like I can't just. So like when I think of Home Alone, I think of these two. Yes, there's a 3, 4, and 5, and 3 is good. And 4 and 5 we won't discuss.
When you'll see 3, 4, and 5 on my Chaotic Christmas 2018 reviews, you'll watch those. Don't
3's
watch.
Good.
3's pretty good.
3's pretty good.
I have to never see that damn movie again.
Like Home Alone 1 and 2, I just can't. Like you have to watch them together. So I consider them one movie in my eyes. That's just how I feel. And it's
I'm in the same boat as far as like I always watch these movies together.
Yeah.
But this one is the one I've watched the most. It's because I grew up having this movie on VHS, and it holds a special place in my heart. And just the themes are
great because it has more of a sentimental value.
It focuses more on Kevin learns a lesson this time.
Yeah,
because he even says it to the lady where he says, like, a lot of the times I want to be alone, but then I am alone, and I realize that I don't like being alone. I want my family. And I'm just like, I've had that moment many times in my life where like you get so caught up in the craziness that you're like, I just need some me time. Then you get me time for like 5 to 10 minutes, and you're like, I want so I don't know. This is Christmas movies are supposed to make us feel and treasure what we have. This is one that will make you gracious for what you have and want to do better as a person. Yeah. So Home Alone 2 is both Home Alones, solid classics that you should definitely watch.
Always, every year,
no matter
multiple
what.
Times. Like I will watch it 2 or 3 more times.
Also, just a brief side note: how much Macaulay Culkin get paid for this?
$4.5 million.
God damn.
That is the most money any 12-year-old has made for one movie.
Yeah, I assume so. I mean, 12-year-olds are big names. And he still gets residuals off this. So you got to think he's still making 2 last year. My favorite Christmas movie of all time, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. All right. Thanks for tuning into the Film Bummer podcast. My name again is Mac.